Welcome to College Football Monday, a Sons of Saturday live show brought to you by Jack and Coke. I'm your host, Pete B. I've got Sam Jesse here. We are both decked out in our Christmas sweaters, wearing our Christmas best. We just wrapped up with the boys, actually. We did a show with the Sons of Saturday, Pat and Billy, and it was a lot of fun. That just finished up. You'll be getting that tomorrow night. But right now we're live. This is our live show. It's our national show, but that doesn't mean you're not going to hear about the Hokies tonight. We do apologize for starting just a little bit late. Sam knows I like to keep this like a German train schedule every Monday at 8 p.m.
Is so about that. The whole like a German train schedule thing, that's an American thing. If you go to Germany, all of their trains are always late.
Oh.
So you are keeping it like a German train schedule, actually.
Have you seen, I'm cracking a nice one over here. Have you seen that video about all the phrases in Germany that are about sausage? It's basically
I
like,
imagine there's a lot.
There's like all these turns of phrase that mean different things in their culture, but they all have sausage in them. I will share it on it was so funny. It's absolutely hilarious. But anyway, welcome to College Football Monday. We are going to recap everything that happened in college football this past week, including what went down at Michigan. Fernando Mendoza winning the Heisman. That is awesome. Army-Navy, bowl games, the playoff games, some FCS playoff talk, and of course, the latest with the Hokies and the coaching hirings. We're seeing some of your comments in the feed. We'll start sharing those. Make sure to jump in the chat, ask us anything you want, and make sure to like the video and subscribe to the Sons of Saturday channel. Right now, Sam, I need a cheers.
'Tis the season. My parents were up here in New York. We did, Rockefeller Plaza Christmas tree and ice rink, Bryant Park, lights, food.
Did you ice skate?
Amazing. I didn't. My fiance hates ice skating. I love ice skating from my time in Cleveland. It was the only thing to do. But it's just like, that felt like, okay, it's Christmas time. Like seeing Macy's all lit up, seeing the tree, I see the tree every day at work, but like, it's awesome. Christmas time is here. Holiday season. I believe yesterday or today was the start of Hanukkah. Tis the season. It's cold. It's snowy. It's beautiful. Amazing. Embrace it. Embrace it. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for the sweater. Cheers.
Got some comments out from Godfrey in the chat. We got the Dank Panda. Ooh. I want to know how the hell Sherrone Moore was able to sign those two guys from VA this class while acting like a fool outside of football. We got from Godfrey, regarding the Sherrone Moore saga, I hope the recent commits are able to get out of their national letters of intent. I'd like VT to get 2 to 3 guys from them. Both similar comments, and they're both very valid. And we're going to talk about Sherrone Moore first because it was the big news across college football the middle of the week last week, and it took the internet by storm, Sam. He got fired with cause Wednesday evening. The internet did what it did, digging, making memes, getting jokes off, as the man's life spiraled to hell. He had an inappropriate relationship with a subordinate. She had come forward on Monday after breaking up with Moore. And by Wednesday, he was fired. And in the wake of that firing, he went to her house where he was detained by police. He was formally charged with third-degree home invasion, stalking, and breaking and entering, or entering without breaking. He held a knife to his neck, saying he was going to kill himself. My blood is on your hands, and quote-unquote, you ruined my life, all to his mistress. Your thoughts on all of that stuff?
Yeah, so I will very first, and maybe the most important thing to say is, obviously, it is not a funny situation. We college football people want it to be funny. We want it to be like trashy reality TV show. And unfortunately, this crossed the line, I think, it wasn't just like an affair. It became, obviously a felony, right? And very dangerous. So that sucks, right? Straight up, that sucks. There will be jokes made. I will probably make jokes in this podcast.
I tweeted some jokes before the severity of the situation came down.
And we don't know, I think some of these details are still a little bit up in the air. And there's so many rumors circulating around this that it is hard to pull fact from fiction, as it is with most things these days. But I think bottom line, you can say this got pretty dark pretty quick. And that is really unfortunate. And now you're thinking about not only like, the victim in the situation who had her house broken into and was, assaulted at the least. You're now thinking about, his family and loved ones. You're thinking about other people in that building. Like, imagine if you were just a random like employee at the University of Michigan, and this is the third major scandal that you've had at your place of work that probably has nothing to do with you.
If you work in compliance or something and this is the third thing that's gone down at Michigan, it's crazy. And they were supposed to have practice that day. Like they were ready to have practice and it got canceled
imagine if you're
because of all this went down.
If you're just like a travel coordinator or a staff like accountant person at the University of Michigan Athletic Department, and this is happening, like that sucks.
And you think you're gainfully employed throughout the next year. It's Christmas. You're set for the next following football season. Sherrone seems like he's all good. The school did an investigation, supposedly, which was obviously
we'll get into that.
Totally bullshit. But on the field, one of the biggest programs in the country doesn't have a coach right now.
And they also don't have an athletic director. He was also let go. I don't know how much more they needed.
Wait, when did the World Manual thing come down?
Wasn't that? I don't know when that was.
Because he's the one that fired him. And I didn't know that he had gotten let go yet.
I believe so.
But if we're looking...
It is... I mean, here's the thing. If this gets to a point and people are like, oh, keep politics out of sports. Well, that's not how it works for state institutions. If like the state of Michigan has to step in here and clean house, right? If your flagship university is running amok for 5-6 years.
Yeah. Well, it's
like you got to clean house. Like
I
totally.
Think he has served as the 12th director of... Yeah, he's still there. Ward Manuel's still there. And one of the reasons he's still there, Sam, is because they have the number one basketball program in the country. They're one of the few undefeated teams still left. They have a chance to win the Natty this year.
They're pretty good.
But under his watch, we've seen a lot of things go wrong. Where it leaves us in this carousel is what's more important for us and what we do here on College Football Monday. Kalen DeBoer, rumored as a potential candidate. Kenny Dillingham, rumored as a potential candidate, and Jed Fish. These are all leaders of very big programs, some bigger than others. Mm-hmm. But where that lands is going to have ramifications beyond Michigan, and it's going to go to the next school and then the next school.
The domino effect is real. And I think too, Michigan is one of the blue bloods that like recent success doesn't even matter, even though they have the Natty from a few years ago and have been very good. It is one of the few brands of the sport that transcends the results on the field over the last few years. And I think that is something that we don't have when Virginia Tech is open or Oklahoma State is open or even Penn State. Like you don't have that.
Isn't it the largest alumni base in the country?
Dude, it's probably one of the wealthiest.
I think it was the largest.
Might be one of the largest.
Yeah.
I believe they still have the most wins in college football.
They're the winningest
any program.
Yep.
Like, dude, and they have the biggest donor base, like big billionaire, multi-millionaire donor base. Yeah, ever heard of that guy?
Dave Portnoy.
Dave Portnoy. I mean, there's a million. Oracle is full of Michigan guys. Rank here. Let's bring it back to football, Pete. Rank these jobs: Alabama, Washington, Michigan, and let's throw in like Texas.
Well, Michigan's ahead of Washington. And you can debate. I don't think you can debate either of the other two. I think Texas and Alabama are clear-cut ahead because of the footprint in which they sit and the high school football that gets played in that footprint. it's just better in Texas and Alabama. But Michigan has won a national championship more recently than those two schools. So I get what you're saying.
Michigan or Clemson in the ACC?
Michigan.
Michigan or Oklahoma?
Oh, that's a really good one. That is a really good one. See, you know what? With Venables going back to the playoff, I was thinking about this while I was driving around today. It kind of shows the impenetrability of the Oklahoma program because Venables was left for dead. You know, like it didn't seem like that was going to go well at all. Super tough schedule this year in the playoff. So
I have
that's
one
a testament to the Oklahoma program.
I have one more, and I don't want to derail on this. Michigan or a school very much like it, a high-end academic institution with very, very rich alums and very, very rich football history. Michigan or Southern Cal?
Oh, Southern Cal.
Notre Dame too.
Gosh.
I'll throw Notre Dame in there. Because
I think I'd go Michigan over Southern Cal. I would. I just think the focus in Michigan is football.
Right.
At USC and LA in general, yes, they have the number one recruiting class. Lincoln Riley seems like he's back on the track there. But Michigan is always going to be about football. I can't say that I know that about USC.
I'd agree. Yeah, I think it's crazy interesting. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if they take a swing at John Gruden.
They would not hire Gruden.
I would they not?
Well, maybe because of the Portnoy influence, but otherwise, no. Like that is a joke of a hire for a school as good as Michigan.
I mean, they hired like an unproven offensive line coach.
That is true. They not having a proper search for Sherrone Moore was a huge mistake. That was a huge mistake.
I think you're giving them more credit than they're due.
But if they get Dillingham or they get DeBoer, huge. Now, Fish, probably a step down, but he's done a nice job these last 2 years, like kind of getting that back in a place where it's like kind of trending up again.
Yeah, Fish is interesting. Now, with Fish, something to keep in mind, Washington has probably a top 10 to top 15 like recruiting football operation budget. Like they are their entire budget for sports is football. Like they don't do baseball, basketball, track. Like they do football. So that's something that Washington has that some of the other Big Ten schools don't have. And you have I really only have to out recruit one school in my region thing. And it's a little better football, but it is interesting, right? Like he'd be a good hire, but is he a splash hire? Is he a better hire than DeBoer? No, DeBoer's a better coach.
And he has the tie-ins to Michigan. He coached there under Harbaugh for a period of time. But there are other names where Drinkwitz has been rumored. Jesse Minter, I think he has a non-compete, but he's in the NFL right now. And then Clark Lee at Vanderbilt has been rumored as well. But the heavy ones are DeBoer, Dillingham, and Fish. And it kind of seems like one of them is going to get the job, but I don't know.
Why would you leave? Like, why would you walk into that at its current state, though? That seems
the reason
awful.
that DeBoer would do it is because he's from that area with like North Dakota ties, South Dakota ties.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a reason, closer to family. There could be 1,000. Dillingham leaving his alma mater, isn't he from ASU?
Yeah, he's an ASU grad.
Yeah, like why would he leave? That's one I don't really understand. But Pate was talking about it a lot, so I don't know.
Well, if Pate talks about all three of them a lot, he's going to be right on one of them.
True. But I love Josh Pate for the personality that he is within the sport. I think he does a lot of good for the sport. But he, with any national
covers
guy
bases,
covers
their bases.
Yeah, they cover their bases. Good way to put it. Let's talk about Navy beating Army, Sam, before we're done with the Sherrone Moore stuff, because actual football this past weekend was fun. This game really, it always hits, like almost always. Very rarely does it not hit. And this one was dramatic. 17-16 Navy wins. They had that beautiful first drive, but Army came right back and tied it up. And Army on defense was giving Horvath all kinds of trouble. They got a couple of field goals. And so Army was up 13-7 at the half. Then there was a Horvath interception, and it looked like a pick six. But unfortunately, the defender's knee was down. They had to settle for another field goal, 16-7. And that was the last points they ended up getting. It was Horvath time after that.
Yeah, I mean, this game was ridiculous. The craziest 17-16 game in college football history. I'm willing to say that because Army outplayed them for most of that game, but they never could get really a big lead. Like they kept settling for field goals, just couldn't get it done. The Black Knights, it kind of sucked because Navy's the better team throughout the season, and you kind of knew Army needed to get a little bit of a lead because Navy was going to come back in this game. Navy's defense really stepped up to the plate there at the end. Fumble luck is a real thing, and the fact that Navy miraculously covered 2 different fumbles at the end of this game, I mean, miraculously covered them.
Well, there was 3 things. Yes, the 2 fumbles where the one defender, Navy's on the goal line. They're trying to score a touchdown. Horvath kind of turns his back to the end zone and the ball pops out. And an Army guy has it in his hands. And number 46 on Navy yanked his arm down and it comes out. And Heinrich, who was sensational all day long, recovers the fumble. And then there was the other one you're talking about where Horvath is popped right in the ball. It goes straight up in the air and he catches it.
As he's being tackled. Ridiculous.
And then stretches, which he almost got the first down on that too. They got it on the 4th down. But you know what was the worst play for Army was not the fact that they couldn't come up with those 2 fumbles. It was the interception. That interception, they had the ball, they had the lead. It was a 4th quarter.
Backbreaking.
And they threw an out pattern to the sideline. That was a mistake for a team that runs the ball so much. And Navy, they converted 11 out of 18 third downs in this game.
Yeah, really good. And that kind of encapsulates this Army team this year. If you don't follow any of the Service Academy or American Conference, this is not a very talented Army team like they were last year, but they've got a good defense that'll hit you and make some plays. They do have a couple of playmakers on offense. They don't really have the running backs that they normally do. And so their offense, which by definition,
Helms, right?
Yeah, it should by definition be multidimensional, but was in fact one-dimensional kind of all season, and that really hurt them. So, and you saw that pop up in this game where they had some really good drives, they had some big plays, but they couldn't last for 60 minutes, whereas Navy, a little bit more well-oiled machine offensively, and that ended up being the difference in this one. But great game. It's awesome. One of my favorite parts of college football is the Army-Navy game. It is for so many fans, and really cool to see both schools not only play so hard and play so well in that game, but also to be good teams in general is pretty darn cool.
Yeah, Army started off the season tough. They lost to a Tarleton State team that went pretty far in the FCS playoffs. They happened to just lose to Villanova, but Army fought in this game. Full 60 minutes, gave everything they had. There were 3 different guys on Army that had 10 tackles in the game. That is crazy. Great installment of the rivalry. And man, it feels like you should always take the points in this game. It just and Army did cover. They didn't get the money line, which does happen to work out a lot. But the worst team, the team that's having the worst season, is usually the team you want to take against the spread in this game. And that held true in this one.
But both of these teams historically play very well in bowl games.
All right. So speaking of bowl games, we had a bowl game on Saturday, which that is why is there a game the same day?
Nobody knew, dude. Nobody knew that game was happening. Nobody knew.
No one knew about the bucked up LA Bowl hosted by Gronk.
And it was a good match. It was
a good matchup.
Washington
and Boise State played in the LA bucked up game.
I was at a bar. The Knicks game had just ended, so they were turning all the TVs, and the bartender turns it to Washington Boise, and everybody at the bar is like, "Oh, that's probably that's a replay of a bowl game from 2 years ago or something."
Yeah,
and then people look and it's like, "No, it's real." Like, okay, put it on. And then Washington absolutely wiped the floor.
Yeah, they pasted them. Damon Williams, 4 touchdown passes. Jonah Coleman also had a touchdown, fitting because those are their 2 best players. And 5 interceptions by Boise State in the game. They never had a chance with turning the ball over that much. Both quarterbacks threw them. There was 2 from Madsen, 3 from Cutforth. It didn't go well. 38-10 was how that one ended. Our buddy Rich is doing the bowl pool. Are you getting in on that this year, Sam?
I am not. I've been like slowly having more and more issue with how the bowl season goes. And I'm at the point where I don't even know if I can bet these games because it just seems
well. Can I
ill-advised.
tell you one thing that I thought is good for bowls? Because everyone wants to shit on the bowls, and I totally get that. At least the portal window is in January now.
Yeah.
Because I think you are going to get more participation because guys didn't even have a choice. If they were going to transfer, they were already gone at this point. Now they can still play in their bowls and transfer next month.
Yeah. I mean, I can see it just for me, it's not a big enough deal outside of those teams right now. Like nobody knew Washington Boise State was going to play that game. And honestly, for Boise State, nobody cares about the bucked up LA Bowl presented by Rob Gronkowski.
No,
they just won a conference title. That's their that's what they're remembered for. That's their season. That was their goal. They've already accomplished that. Nobody cares about this game. That's unfortunate, but
and it was too soon. There shouldn't be another game the day of Army Navy. I don't understand how that happened, but the rest of the bowl season, it exists. A little bit of tradition and a little bit because the betting sites want people to bet on the games. That's kind of, and ESPN wants the ratings.
Some of them don't do too well though.
Yeah.
Like some of them don't get any viewership. They don't get any handle. Some of them just are dust in the wind.
It's a waste. Games. Yeah. You might as well put on a rerun.
We are going to talk about this further this offseason, floating the takeout to you. Make the bowl matchups the week 1 matchups of the next season. Everybody's open week 1.
That would be fun. Just for a flavor of what the bowl could have been, because it's going to be different teams.
Mm-hmm. Because what if you had, you play at the higher record team home? What if you had Washington at Boise State week 1 next year?
Pretty fun.
That sounds pretty awesome.
Pretty fun. I like it. All right, so let's move to an ad read, and then we're going to do VT Corner. College Football Monday is brought to you by Jack and Coke, 2 legends, 1 can. Jack and Coke. You can see that can right on your screen. The #1 cocktail in the world is now available in a can. It's true. Jack Daniel's Tennessee whiskey mixed with Coca-Cola or Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is now available in a can at your local grocery and convenience store. They're everywhere. They're delicious. You can get Jack and Coke Original, Jack and Vanilla, and Jack and Cherry all in one mixed pack. That's right. It's a 12-pack, 4 of each. They are awesome. Bring them to the tailgate. You don't need a bottle. You don't need Jack Daniels. You just need the cans. Ice cold, perfect mixture, not too strong, not too weak. 2 legends, 1 can, Jack and Coke. And when you're having those Jack and Cokes, please drink responsibly. Let's move to, you know what, Sam? I think I need to change the background.
Any day now.
Yeah, let me find it. Hold on.
There we go.
Here we go.
There it goes. There it goes.
This is VT Corner, everyone's favorite segment of College Football Monday. Make sure to like the video and subscribe if you're following on YouTube. If you have Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure to follow us there as well. Set us up for automatic downloads, even if you don't listen there. But it does make it easy. If you're on the go, just pop us in one of your podcast app, whatever your favorite one is. First and foremost in VT Corner, Sam, we need to mention a $20 million gift given to athletics today. Yes. Thank you, Anonymous. Yep. Thank you.
Oh, yes. I thought that was you, Pete. Not you.
It's not me, baby. Maybe it's Robbie. You. Maybe Robbie did it.
Maybe Robbie.
He left the pod.
He left the pod. He's BRB. I got to do something real quick. Yeah. I mean, the highest value donation to Virginia Tech athletics by $4.3 million. That was set in 2017. This one, I think we talked about this when it came to the fundraising around James Franklin. And one of the lines I had of it was people are saying, well, where did this money come from? Where's the budget come from? I think part of it was people didn't think that their money was actually going towards anything. Like they didn't know what it was going towards. Was it going towards a high salary pool for assistant coaches and or head coach? Was it going towards players? Was it going towards facilities? Because Tech wasn't doing any of those things over the past few years, and now seems to be doing all three of those things. So it's not surprising for me, but it is like $20 million.
It's a lot of freaking money, dude.
It's a lot of money.
It's
a nice
hard
tax
to
write-off
believe
for somebody.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that. I mean, I know schools get these. There was that Michigan State person that's donating like $20 million a year for the next 20 years. But
Yeah,
we have
that's
not had this type of gift. And I think this was one of those ones we've been working on for a while. I know it's anonymous, but if you follow this stuff and you're tied in with some things we hear, like there was rumors we're getting a pretty massive gift at some point or another in the 10 to $20 million range. And to have it hit and have it be 20, this is huge. This is the kind of stuff that hiring James Franklin gets you. Like this doesn't happen without James Franklin. I am supremely confident of that.
Yeah, and I think it doesn't happen as also without an athletic department that has made it known that they're not only willing to, not only do they want to go out and be a big time football program, but they're willing to spend like it too. And they're committed to it, right? Like you're committed to that James Franklin contract that he signed. And I think you're also looking now into the NIL rev sharing space. That 20 million is just from Virginia Tech per year. I want to remind people of that. And that number actually will go up year over year. So that 20 million is just from Virginia Tech. There is still a whole other NIL pool that can be funded by the Hokie Club pretty much.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like, I know it's a $20 million gift and it's not that this was unexpected. If you know what I'm saying, like part of the funding, like we expected to get some big gifts. Now this is very big, but this is what we need. This was part of that whole deal.
Yeah. And I'm sure this is part of the reason, like when they brought on James Franklin, I think they were probably saying, hey, we have this deal happening and who knows what the money will actually go towards. I think fans have a little bit better trust now with a guy like James Franklin in the building and, you know, people like Rakovich at the head of the table that it will be spent correctly and in a way that helps Virginia Tech not only in next year, but 10 years down the line, right? Because Rakovich, something that he has been really adamant about multiple times is this isn't a 10-year, you know, decision-making that we're making right now. It's 100 years. Yes. Like this is setting up for decades and decades, the decisions we make now. So will this $20 million be dropped and spent immediately? Probably not. It's probably going into the operating budget. I don't even know if it's a lump sum $20 million. Has that detail come out yet?
I don't know that, but the fact of the matter is
it's more money than we had.
Yes. And I would imagine that it's more liquid than not in terms of like to help immediately. I believe that when you say this, most of it's coming in soon.
I'm going to guess too, a lot of athletic departments, a lot of the funding for, you know, facilities and things like that and coach buyouts and all that are done through like debt, right? And so when you're going to a bank to acquire some debt, you need, hey, we can actually pay this back in the future.
You have collateral,
having a $20 million check, say, hey, we can actually pay this back. Trust us. Probably helps a lot too. So
it's immediate flexibility if we need to grab some people in the portal, Sam.
Yeah. I mean, here's what it does too. Even if none of this money is spent on portal, if $0 of this 20 million is spent on a football player, what that means is all of those other donations that we've all been giving to Hokie Club for years, now that is freed up to be spent on players.
Yes, absolutely.
That's right. So it's
all part of the same kind of pot that we need to be able to pull from for various things.
Literally this morning, I put in the group chat, I was like, I'm kind of worried about linebackers in the portal. It's a tough position to get in the portal. There's not a lot of guys here. We haven't done well at that position in the past. We need to add a new guy for the 4-3 defense. It's going to be tough, yada, yada. That drops Not worried anymore.
I'm good.
I'm good. Feel good about
I
it.
feel better. All right, so let's talk about the coaching hires. That kind of is going to move us right to a place that you might need some money. And we got a Thamel bomb. I want to say this was last Tuesday, the day after we recorded. Sources: Virginia Tech is expected to hire Penn State co-offensive coordinator and tight ends coach Ty Howell as the school's new offensive coordinator. He's expected to be the school's play caller as well. For one thing, big enough to get a Thamel bomb from that? Kind of nice. Like, does that indicate to you right off the bat that, like, maybe is that Franklin's juice, or is that Ty Howell's juice, or is that just the fact that Thamel's doing his job? Like, I can't really figure that out because not everyone gets a Thamel bomb.
All of it. Like, Thamel has to tweet something out. If he knows it, he's going to tweet it out, right? His job. I also think I wouldn't be surprised if other schools were in on Ty Howell pretty quick because of his track record with tight ends, which we'll get to. I do, however, think on the surface, it is underwhelming. I think that's fair to say, right? On the surface, it's underwhelming. I put out a tweet, and I'll shoot it over to you, Pete, because I didn't actually send it to you, but like, it's not a home run headline grabbing hire.
It's not the big name hire that we were talking about. Like, literally last week when we hired Pry to be the DC, you said we better be dropping a bag. What did you actually say? It was something really funny. Like the entire like
El Dorado
on an OC. This is not that. This is not the hot industry name. This isn't someone a lot of people are aware of. But in Penn State circles, Ty Howell is very well thought of. On the surface, it looks like a redo of the Tyler Bowen hire. Does it not? I mean, he's
the goofy, like the goofy cartoon meme where he's like, "F it, I'll do it again." That's kind of what it seems like.
Right. A Penn State co-OC, a tight ends coach, former offensive lineman, and he coaches tight ends. Like, actually, I already said that, but you get what I'm saying. Like, the similarities between Ty Howell and Tyler Bowen, they even have the same freaking name. Like, it's kind of uncanny in that respect.
I just sent you. I sent you the graphic I tweeted out. If you want to put it up here, I know you got to do some work on your side to get it, but it does feel like a little bit of a we've made this mistake before. I tweeted out the lyrics from Taylor Swift. I think I've seen this film before. It is a little scary to me that we're hiring an offensive coordinator who has only been a co-OC and doesn't have any play calling experience. That for me is an immediate worry. And it has nothing, it's not a knock on Ty Howell as a coach. It's just like, hey, you're doing this for the first time. So I tweeted out this. If you're watching on YouTube, which you should be, or I guess on X, streaming it live, that works too. I looked at some stats of Virginia Tech versus Penn State since Brent Pry has been hired and Virginia Tech brought over Bowen from Penn State. And it's pretty clear to me Penn State's offense actually hasn't been that terrible, right? So last season, 2024, they were the number 1 success rate offense in the country. Number 1. They were the number 8 yards per play team in the country. They were the number 6 expected points added per drop back, which is basically the effectiveness of your passing. Number 6 nationally in throwing the ball, something that nationally we think Penn State sucks at. They were number 6 in the country last year. Pretty much across the board, they've been significantly better than Virginia Tech since Brent Pry became the head coach at Virginia Tech and brought in some of those Penn State guys. And they've been top 3rd in the nation in pretty much all of these stats over the past 4 years. Virginia Tech hasn't touched top 3rd.
So the gist of what you're saying is like, yes, Ty Howell hasn't been a play caller full time for Penn State, but he has been the OC, and it has been a very successful offense.
Yes, and it has, and it's been an offense that, like, dynamic isn't the word. They don't create a lot of explosives. They aren't the sexiest offense, but they've been really effective. And I think I look at it as like, hey, if Virginia Tech had an offense that was operating at this level over the past 3 seasons, how many more wins does Virginia Tech have? Conservatively, I think you put it at 10 wins. Like, it's it would have been a totally different program. And I don't know if you're going to be able to bring that immediately over to Virginia Tech.
Because a lot of that is their running game and their offensive line. And, that takes years to build out sometimes.
Yeah, but think about the 1-score games that Virginia Tech has lost, right?
I know.
If you're 1 touchdown better a game, or even like 4
or if you have a
3
better
points
player
right,
that can make that third down that leads to a touch, like it's all such butterfly effect, right? Like these little things, these one play changes in games. And I have Ty Howell's career listed on the screen right now. And no, he has not called plays full time at Penn State. So that is what we'd put that in the con column of hiring him, because we wanted an established play caller to come to Virginia Tech. That's what we kind of expected with the support staff budget we were going to have. That's what we thought we'd have. But he did call plays for Western Illinois. He's done it in his past. They had a pretty good pass offense that year. And he had called plays for a couple games with Penn State. I want to say last year or the year before. There were certain games that he called the plays, and they were fine games. What's bigger, what we're getting in Ty Howell, though, unlike Tyler Bowen, is he is an elite position coach. Absolutely 100% elite. He's not coming off some failed Urban Meyer experiment with the Jags, which is what Tyler Bowen was doing.
Not Tyler Bowen's fault.
Not necessarily, no. But like this guy, this is who he's coached at Penn State. Tyler Warren, 14th overall pick, a stud in the NFL already. Theo Johnson, another pick in the draft, and then a second-round pick in Brendan Strange to Jacksonville. So, like, this is...
Those are 3 guys that you could have on your fantasy roster.
And they're all within the last 3 years. It's unbelievable. And he's got more guys. Let me put this on the screen. These are the guys in the Penn State tight end room right now. Like, these are the guys that he's recruiting. 97, Sam? A 97. Like, when was the last time we had a 97 on our roster? Like, and this is just the tight end room.
Fuller Brothers, like, it's crazy. It is. That is tight end U, right? And that's the brand that they've built. And hey, bring it to Virginia Tech. Like, give it to
Absolutely,
like that is an
because
X
he is
factor
going
position.
to be our tight ends coach.
Yeah.
Can we get Matt Henderson to come home? Isn't this a Nova kid?
I believe so. Well, at least, dude, it's Penn State. At least one of them's a Nova kid.
Well, that was Howell's good in the DMV.
Well, I mean,
so that's another reason that they brought him in.
We just recorded with Billy Ray and Pat, and Billy Ray, right off the bat, first pitch of the game was like, my player of the year, Jaracius Hairston. And it's like, hey, if you get that, like, he looked pretty good. You get him in a system that favors the tight ends. You get him an elite tight ends coach. You get him competent quarterback play. Hey, that could be a pretty good tight end.
What about Benji, a 4-star in his own right, who has another year left?
Benji has one more year. I honestly, I forget that all the time too. Benji has one more year as well. And you will see like a lot more 2 tight end sets in this offense already. And so when you look at that list and you're like, yeah, they recruited a bunch of these 4-star guys, only 1 or 2 of them are really going to get snaps. Not really the case. This is a team that's going to run a lot of 12 personnel. So
there's a question. Could be. Thank you for the comment, Max and Cheese. One more TD a game and Pry would have had a dozen more wins. Not necessarily wrong on that one. And then there was a comment here from Big Irv. Randall Big Irvin. Do you all think there will be an official announcement on the coaching staff? I kind of want to tackle that in just a couple of minutes as we kind of move through some of the other things on here. But finishing on Howell, great recruiter, great position coach, elite probably in both aspects. The unknown of the offensive coordinating, the play calling, that is where you see the underwhelming commentary on that. From what Penn State people say about this guy, losing him, how they feel about it, he's kind of thought of as like a rising star type. I'm willing to take a chance on James Franklin's judgment rather than what was Brent Pry's judgment as a first-time head coach hiring a first-time sole coordinator in Tyler Bowen. It's such a different situation that I actually kind of believe in this. And just the mere fact that he's going to recruit and he's going to coach his position well is already a step in the right direction.
Yeah. I mean, I also think having Matt Moore as a holdover, a guy who knows the current roster, but also has such a track record of developing offensive linemen. Now you bring in a guy who has a track record of developing tight ends. You're starting to see the vision for this offense here. And not only that, but you're keeping Fontel Mines as well, who is your ace recruiter, but also is a guy who, like, tight ends guy, right? He's not really a wide receiver coach. Like, originally he's a tight ends guy. You're starting to see the identity of this offense take shape with these hires. And that's something that through the end of the Beamer years, through the Fuente years, through the Pry years, like, there was no offensive identity. There was no game plan when it came to building a roster, building a scheme. Immediately off the bat, James Franklin has said, "Hey, this is where our bread is going to be buttered.
Yeah.
Our
And
butter is going to be breaded."
Keeping Matt Moore. We talked a little bit about it with Billy and Pat, but like, it's huge for the continuity. Both you and I had different tweets about it, but Matt Moore has put 3 different guys in the draft in his time at West Virginia, 2 of which were in the last 2 drafts, both in the top 3 rounds. He's a really good offensive line coach, and I know there was some chatter about Troutwine coming over from Penn State, and that would have been great. But keeping Matt Moore, keeping the continuity with guys we already have in-house, talented guys that he brought over from West Virginia that are still here, Kyle Altuner, Gavin Crawford, is there a Lucas, right? Like there's these, this is big. Like when you have a new coach, James Franklin talked about it. He didn't have an offensive line when he got to Penn State. Starting with a guy that's already been in the building and has recruited a little bit and has an idea of what these guys do well and what they don't do well, this is massive for him hitting the ground running in year 1, especially for a guy in Franklin and an offense at Penn State that likes to run the ball. And we actually did that well this year. It's one of the only things we did well. It's huge to keep Matt Moore.
Yeah. And he's so well respected nationally as well. I feel like that was a guy that probably had a lot of suitors immediately. And to keep him feels pretty big, right? That almost feels like a recruiting win in and of itself. And when I look at who Virginia Tech has brought in the recruiting, in this most recent class, we talked about Pierce Peterson, the tight end, who is high 3-star, low 4-star guy out of Minnesota, who we're really excited about. But the depth in the meat of this recruiting class, like we talked with Colby Crawford a few episodes ago, is the offensive line. And that's, for me, I don't even care as much what the identity of the offense is as much as I care about that the identity exists. And this is a step in the right direction for that. Now,
and I think we know what it's going to be. Like
I have worries. I have worries. Like the quarterback position development is scary because Drew Aller was the number 1 quarterback. He was almost a perfect 5-star recruit. Everyone wanted him. Like elite talent guy. NFL scouts still want him. You had 1 good year of him.
Let's talk about that in 1 second. But the offense, but what I think what you were getting at was that, like, the identity of Penn State and the identity presumably with Virginia Tech is going to be big sets running the football. Like that's what I assume.
Yeah. And I bet that's a lot easier to do and overmatch your opponent when you're playing, North Carolina, Virginia, and Wake Forest, as opposed to when you're playing, Minnesota, Michigan, Ohio State. Minnesota I threw in there because I always think they're really big. They're not Michigan or Ohio State.
When those northern schools, man, there's just big people up there, like Wisconsin, Minnesota, Boston College. They all seem to have offensive linemen for whatever reason. Danny O'Brien, quarterback coach, coming over from Penn State, another younger guy, played quarterback for James Franklin at Maryland, 2009, 2010. He was the ACC Rookie of the Year in 2010. I remember watching him to the point that I put his highlights on my Twitter page just the other day because I thought it was funny. We're getting him. I remembered him. And he he should write like Torrey Smith a thank you note every day for being ACC Freshman of the Year, because Torrey Smith was incredible that season. I talked about this with Dan from Tales of the Terror Dome last night, but he was an awesome quarterback for a minute. His career kind of flamed out after that, but he was even seen at a young age. If you watch the videos of that Maryland team, you can find them on YouTube. Like, all of his teammates are like, this dude just sees the game differently. Like, this kid was made to be a QB coach. And so he took over the duties. I want to say 2024, he became the QB coach officially. He had been on staff for a few years, but in 2024, he became the QB coach for Drew Aller. And that was Aller's best season. He took his stats all up a notch in that season. You had some commentary on Drew Aller maybe not performing up to his ability this year. How are you feeling about the Danny O'Brien hire?
Yeah. It's complicated because we saw the peak of it with Drew Aller, and like, he was very, very good. Now, he needed some clutch moments that Penn State didn't end up getting, and that's what ultimately led to them not winning a national title last year. However, you see the ceiling, you also see the floor. And historically with James Franklin, that's been the issue, quarterback play. Like, clutch quarterback play has been the issue. Wide receiver play, getting the ball out to playmakers and attacking the edge, that's been an issue. So for me, I understand the vision of it. I'm a little bit worried, not as much about like what this team is going to be, and again, the identity. I'm a little bit worried, like, where do the new ideas come from? Where does the creativity and the ingenuity come from? Because we haven't talked about the Brent Pry hire yet on this show, but like, everybody you're bringing in,
we talked about
guys,
a week ago.
Yeah,
on this show, you mean tonight? Yeah,
already been with. Like, they're guys who you've already seen the results of. They're guys who have already been in the building together and talking to each other. Where do you get the new ideas? Where do you get something that teams haven't seen on film before? I'm not seeing that totally. Now, they did make an external hire for running backs coach, which I'm sure we'll get into in a little bit here, which is a very, very good hire. But that's a worry for me. That's a worry.
It is a worry.
Play caller, and you have no new ideas.
We're bringing over the Penn State co-OC and the quarterback coach of maybe what wasn't seen as the most inventive offense or square peg in a round hole. One of the key things, though, Sam, Kotelnicki.
Thing is, I don't know.
The play caller for Penn State, who came over from Kansas and was there for the last 2 years. He did some good things, but the match with Aller never made sense. And he was the play caller, and he was probably the ultimate decision maker with that offense. That's what gives me a little bit of hope. If you take Hal away from that, you bring Danny over, because there were some good things that Drew Aller did going from 23 to 24. Like, so what I will give Danny O'Brien credit for, because that's the year he took over. His passer rating went up for Aller. His QBR went up significantly. His yards per attempt went up by 1.6 yards per attempt. They went to like 8.4 yards per attempt. So everything went up the year that Danny O'Brien took over. Now, that could be maturation by Aller. That could be some O'Brien's influence, but it was a really good year for the Penn State offense. 2024 was, and we got a co-OC from that offense, and we got the quarterback coach from that offense.
Asterix, I don't think Virginia Tech will have a quarterback with the tools that Drew Aller has coming to next year.
Well, that brings me to Grunkenmeyer, because there's potential that we bring over Grunkenmeyer, the backup for Drew Aller that had to play after he got hurt this year. Grunk completed 69.4% of his passes, had a 74 QBR, which would be good for top 30 nationally if he had enough snaps. He performed very well in a very difficult spot as a redshirt freshman under Danny O'Brien's tutelage. Like that, to me, that is maybe the best selling point on Danny O'Brien.
It is. I will point out that he probably doesn't have the ceiling that Drew Aller has. I mean, I know it was in a losing effort, but if you watch the Big Ten title game last year between Penn State and Oregon, Drew Aller looked like a mix between like prime Eli Manning and prime like Kurt Warner. Like he was just ripping the ball down the field, refusing
he has
to get
more
stacked.
like
It was
natural
awesome.
talent. But
Yeah.
you know, Grunk was a top 110 recruit. I think he was 104 or something like
Yeah.
that.
I mean, yeah, he was good. I'm thinking too about the current portal. Like who's the most talented guy right now in the portal or best quarterback in the portal? Not talented. Let's go with best quarterback in the portal. Like I'd say it's Brendan Sorsby right now, who's currently, coming from Cincinnati.
Because
He's a
Lagway jumped
very
in today, Raiola jumped in today.
oh,
But I know what you're
I'm
saying.
done
Like,
with DJ Lagway.
best actual quarterback.
Best actual quarterback on the field has been Brendan Sorsby. That's a very different style. That's more Trace McSorley style.
It is. It's
the
very
playmaker, run the ball. Like you're gonna live with an interception because it comes with 2 awesome plays surrounding it, type thing. That's changes, I think, your play calling and changes your style of offense, which quarterback they bring in. I can see them if you bring in more of a traditional, like pro style quarterback like Drew Aller is. I think your offense looks very different than if you bring in a Sorsby or a Colton Joseph or Sam Levitt type player.
You're 100% right, man. Whoever they go grab in the portal to be our starter, because I'm telling you right now, our starter's not on the roster.
We just got a what about Sam Levitt? Buddy, what about Sam Levitt?
What about Sam Levitt? That would be nice.
I would. $20 million. Boom.
Yeah, that's where that $20 million is going. No, it's Sam Levitt would be great. Kojo would be great, but they're very different quarterbacks than a Grunk or an Aller. Say if Aller were to get an extra year of eligibility, which is a possibility.
Or a Lagway. Like Lagway's more of a pocket passer. Yeah.
So
I
we're
don't
going to have
think
to
we're
wait and see.
getting. I don't think.
And if you go by what Franklin has had, typically, it is the pocket passer. It is the more stationary quarterback. Now Aller could run a little bit, but not as much as a McSorley type or a Sorsby type. But we will see who we get. And some of the things that Franklin said in his presser and all those different media appearances was like he could take more risks. He feels like he would be more comfortable taking risks at Virginia Tech, which is an interesting way to spin it, but maybe he will.
He played like the weather card, which I thought was really funny. He was like, yeah, it's, we had to play all those games in terrible cold weather and stuff. So we had to build a team that could win a game when it's 30 degrees and 20 mile an hour per winds and stuff like that.
Coaches are always overthinking shit like that.
Way overthinking it, dude. The object's to put the ball in the end zone. We're not trying to.
You're talking about like 3 games a year at the most. And also Blacksburg's cold as shit.
Yeah. When we have when that road game at Boston College is scheduled for November 4th next year, come talk to me then.
Yeah, right. So we talked about Danny. We talked about Matt Moore. Fontel Mines being retained. And now we believe it to be for the wide receiver coach. At first, that wasn't so certain, but it seems as if Fontel will still be our wide receiver coach. Undoubtedly, a good recruiter. We know that Fontel can recruit. Talked about this with Dan. The question is, his most talented guys, we haven't seen them live up to the hype yet. And some of them are still very young. Some of them have had injury problems. But the wide receiver position over the past 2 years has been one of the more disappointing positions on our roster.
Yeah. I think there are clear fundamental issues that we've seen with the wide receiver room, right? Like you've seen in their route running, you've seen in the drop passes. It's an issue. Now, how much of that's on the players, how much of that's on the coaches, right? Like, I don't think your coach is going out there and teaching you to drop the pass, right? I don't think your coach is telling you.
He can only show you how to use the jugs machine so many times.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think if you were to be honest, they haven't been coached particularly well. I think they also haven't been as talented as we maybe thought when we've seen them on the field. I think that's fair. Like there's been a couple of guys who we thought were going to be potential NFL wide receivers that weren't very good ACC wide receivers.
And even some of the guys we brought in the portal, like Jalen Lane lived up to what we thought he could be. I thought the offensive design let Jalen Lane down.
Yeah. Yeah.
But fortunately, he got into the NFL and he's good, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think it is, in a way, you kind of have to keep a guy like that who's recruited so well. In other ways, I think it would have been one of the position groups where you would have liked to potentially see a fresh start.
Potentially. Yeah. I you know
But
what?
there's a lot of talent in that room, dude. Like, it's maybe the most talented room Virginia Tech has.
And I think one of the threads through these coaching hires, Sam, has been recruiting. I mean, it is clear as day. Ty Howell, ace recruiter. Matt Moore, pretty damn solid recruiter. Fontel, great recruiter. Like
Jimmy's and Joe's over X's and O's for sure.
Norvell McKenzie, the running back coach that we just hired from Georgia Tech. This is an interesting one because he was not only the running back coach, he was the run game coordinator as well for GT, a team that we know has run the ball quite well over the past 3 years. He's been at GT since 2023 as in that role. He's a Vandy grad. He's worked a bunch of places, but he's mostly been a running backs guy. And Jamal Haynes in 23 and 24, the first 2 years of McKenzie being on staff, had over 2,000 total yards and 16 rushing touchdowns, nearly 6 yards a carry over a 2-season span. This year, Malachi Hosley actually outperformed Jamal Haynes, who was already really good. Malachi Hosley was a portal pull from Penn. And this guy also has his hands in a bunch of Georgia and Florida 4-star recruiting. That's, I think, the piece of this that's why he's on staff.
Yeah, he's the one like out of the radius guy that they hired and somebody who we've seen firsthand how well his players play. Elijah Brooks was a phenomenal running backs coach, is going to continue to be a phenomenal football coach in the future. It sucks losing. Sucks.
It does. I would have liked to keep Brooks.
Yep. But new ideas, bringing in a new guy, bringing in a fresh voice, bringing in a recruiting area that you haven't really ever tapped into. Like Virginia Tech's never been a big Georgia recruiting, and that's probably the best high school football state in the country right now. Somebody's going to get mad at me for that, but it's probably
we used to go into Florida with Torian Gray, but Isaiah Ford came out of Florida. Like we've had a Luther Maddie, I think was a Florida guy, but this is Elijah Brooks was DMV. Ty Howell is DMV. So I think there was a little bit of overlap there that they decided, let's go this way because we can get more into the South this way.
Yeah, to take him from Georgia Tech is pretty nice too. But yeah, that team you're going to play a lot.
Absolutely. And he's worked a lot, man. I think it's a savvy move. His ties to the South, his acumen and the guys he's had. That was the best thing that Georgia Tech did was their run game with not only with the running backs, but with Haynes King too. And he was the run game coordinator. So
I would love to see a run game coordinator, pass game coordinator combo. And I think you probably are getting that with O'Brien as well.
And so that's someone asked us this question, like what we thought about co-OCs. Do we think this is what it was. When do you think the official announcement about the coaching staff is going to come? And I think for me, why haven't we heard that Pry is the DC yet with an official announcement? Why haven't we heard that Ty Howell is and maybe that just means they're solo. For me, I'm wondering if it's because there's co-OCs or DCs.
Yeah. And it's also, I mean, writing contracts up and going through those and all that jazz is part of it as well.
But the Pry thing is very it made such national news in terms of the college football world that I'm surprised that the school hasn't said anything about it since.
Yeah, that is weird.
So that's why I tend to think there could be co-coordinators, but that's my personal speculation.
8 a.m. tomorrow, something's going to drop just because you said that.
Yes, indeed. So at the other positions, let's talk about strength and conditioning quickly. Chuck Losey coming over from Penn State. He's the mustachioed gentleman. He's been with James Franklin since Vandy. He was Dwight Galt III's assistant for 11 years. Dwight Galt III being the father of the Dwight Galt that was on our staff before Ferg replaced him last season. He took over at Penn State in 2022, did Chuck Losey. They went 23-6 the next 2 years. They had 2 top 15 finishes. And in 2024, Penn State had 10 guys at the NFL Combine, and they all crushed it. This guy knows strength and conditioning. He's super well respected. This is, I hate to lose Ferg, but this is a really good coach.
Yeah. Lift heavy plates, take your creatine, drink your protein shakes. That's about all I can say for that.
That's all you got?
It shouldn't be hard to get college guys to lift heavy weights for fun.
One last thing on Losi. He said over the offseason, James Franklin is my guy. I don't want to work for anybody else in this profession. That's what he said over the summer. So if there was ever a doubt in anyone's mind that he would be here, you were mistaken. This guy was always coming in.
It's kind of funny. It's such an important position, and it does like make or break programs, but it should be so easy in a way, right? Like it shouldn't be difficult. And I think the fact that this is something that Virginia Tech has really struggled with over the last few years is telling you something. Now, I think Ferg was a really good hire. People seem to love him. I don't think strength and conditioning was anywhere near the top of the issues for Virginia Tech football this year. But like, bring in a guy who knows the coach. He knows what his players are going to do. He can speak to it in recruiting, all of that. Like, that is a job that's normally very tied to the hip to the head coach.
Yeah.
Historically.
Austin made the comment, the wide receiver room has to catch a ball from Drones, who throws the most uncatchable ball ever. So yes, that is part of it with the wide receiver room.
Catching the ball is a good first step.
It's a good first step. But what I think Austin is saying is like, Drones didn't do the wide receivers a whole lot of favors also.
No.
It goes both ways.
Like there were plays ran this year where the route tree made no sense for the down and distance as well. And not to get too into that, but like, yeah.
Did Sam get anything fun to eat at Bryant Park?
Didn't get anything to eat at Bryant Park. They do have some really cool stations set up there, though. I did have a lunch reservation that went to Little Frankie's in the Lower East Side. Second best pizza I've ever had in my life. Shout out Little Frankie's.
Nice, incredible dude. Spot. Second best slice of pizza. Damn.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good. All right. So the other coaches,
best in the United States.
We're gonna close this out with what we know. Pry, likely the linebacker coach. That's what we've heard. Tight end coach will be Howell. DB coach, not Coach Cheetah. He's told us goodbye on his social media platforms. And the defensive line coach, we also don't know yet. There's rumors about the defensive line coach from A&M. That's why we're rooting for Miami this weekend.
That'd be cool.
Because we would love to get the coach that worked with him, and James Franklin have a working relationship that goes back a little ways. So that's about it for VT Corner. Any last notes? Let me scroll through these comments, Sam, but are we good for VT?
I mean, we don't know any specific details about this, but I believe JC Price will be involved in some way.
As like an auxiliary staff member.
Yeah.
Not as the defensive line coach.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I've heard something similar, so we will wait and see on that. But that would be nice because I love JC.
Yep.
He's a great Hokie, and I know he loves Blacksburg. So
we love him.
We sure do. Let's move to the end of College Football Monday. We got a couple more things to talk about. First and foremost, the FCS playoffs. This is called College Football Monday. We cover everything with regard to college football. We could talk Harding and Assumption and Penn and Yale. But for right now, we're going to talk football championship. Illinois State continued their Cinderella run. They beat UC Davis 42-31. And last week, Sam, this was my fault because I didn't put it in the rundown. But we should have absolutely covered Illinois State beating North Dakota State in the most dramatic way possible.
Their quarterback threw 4 or 5 interceptions in that game, and they still won at the Fargo Dome.
They were down 14 points with 3 minutes left, and they won the game by 1 because they went for 2 at the very end and got the win in the Fargo Dome. They were the number 1 team, was North Dakota State. They've won 10 out of the last 14 championships.
15,
yeah. So to upset them was amazing. Illinois State kept it going, beating UC Davis. They are one of the Final Four. Montana waxed South Dakota State.
Waxed.
52-22. Montana is in the Final Four. Villanova comes back, beats Tarleton on the road in Texas. They were down 14-0. They end up winning the game 26-21. I was watching that whole thing. Great game. Villanova in the Final Four. And then Montana State beats Stephen F. Austin. It was a bad day for purple teams from the state of Texas because Stephen F. Austin went down 44-28. Montana State also in the Final Four. So now it sets up Montana against Montana State rematch. But this time it's in Bozeman, Sam.
Football as God intended. This is the
might
first
go
time
to the game.
It's the first time that these two arch rivals have played in the playoffs. I can't wait for it. It's like Montana's high flying offense versus Montana State's elite stout defense. Montana State got the better of them in a close game that happened in Missoula a few weeks ago.
Yep.
Now they're in Bozeman. Dude, unbelievable scenes. Can't wait to watch this game.
4 p.m.
Must watch TV if you're a college football
4
fan.
p.m. on Saturday, and that's when isn't that when the two worst actual playoff games are starting?
Yeah,
because the better playoff games at noon.
Yes, I also think with this, like, what if you don't watch FCS football a lot, or even
this
like
is what
know
I'm
the
talking
teams
about here.
Yeah, like this is basically like Alabama Auburn playing in the college football playoff.
Dude,
it's pretty insane.
It's Brawl of the Wild. That's what they call it. If you're not aware,
they hate each other.
They played it in Missoula a couple weeks back, as Sam said. Montana State won. Can Montana State and Bozeman is at Montana State, correct?
Yes,
they're the higher seed. Yeah, so this one's at Montana State, 4 p.m. on Saturday. You don't have to watch Ole Miss Tulane. You can watch Brawl of the Wild.
You don't. Whoa. Ole Miss Tulane Part 3. I wonder how that one's going to go.
So, and then Villanova will face off against Illinois State, the Cinderella team, 7:30 in Philly. I'm thinking about going. My concern, Sam, if Pat was at the one playoff game and I was at the other, that'd be pretty cool.
That would be cool.
It's going to be cold as shit.
Cold is a state of mind.
But Villanova, they have not won. So this is what I was going to say. Illinois State never won an FCS title. They're one of the Final Four. Villanova hasn't won since 2009. Montana hasn't won since 2001. They were a powerhouse. For a while, they were a powerhouse. And they're still very good, but they haven't won a title since 2001. And Montana State hasn't won a title since the year I was born, 1984. So it's someone is going to get a nice championship here after a long layoff.
It's much must watch. Excuse me. I've been talking for 2.5 hours now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait. And then we also have D1 playoff.
We got bowl games. We got playoff. We got bowl game. So of the bowl games that are not playoff games, what are you looking forward to? Is there any that
I don't know? I don't know any of the matchups. I'm straight up, Pete. Straight up. I want to keep it real. I don't know any of the games.
What about the Pop-Tarts Bowl?
I don't know who's in the Pop-Tarts Bowl, Pete.
Right,
I don't know. I know Notre Dame turned it down. Please
can I educate the listeners on like 3 bowls? Give me 3. Okay. Good. Pop-Tarts Bowl is always a fun one.
Yeah.
GT and BYU. That's a good game.
Oh, that's fun. That's
a top 25 matchup. BYU favored by 4.5. Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe. Penn State against Clemson. The Pinstripe has not had this good of a matchup of brands in maybe ever. Clemson favored by 4.5 over Penn State. They're going to get good attendance, I would imagine, with all those Penn State fans coming up to New York. Sam will be in attendance, I'm sure. And then what I want to use for number 3 here, because I got a few. ODU and USF. That is an interesting one. That's coming up on Tuesday.
That's the over game if I've ever seen one.
Arizona and SMU. That's a fun game. That's a fun game. That's the last. I think that's the last game of the whole deal before, like the holiday bowls, like the last one, January 2nd, Arizona, SMU 3-point underdogs in that one. But that's all I got from the bowl games. As for the CFP, you know the matchups. I'll put them back on the screen. We've talked a little bit about them. I want to ask Sam of the bracket. This is the Sons of Saturday bracket. This was a compilation of a lot of different gentlemen. Sam put this together for us. There's 12 teams in this playoff, Sam. How many teams do you think can actually win it?
I'm going to give you 5 that I came up. I really racked my brain around this. I'm going to give you 5. The 2 obvious ones are the top 2 seeds, and it's Indiana and Ohio State. I think that goes without saying. We don't have to talk about that too much. 3 would be Oregon. Oregon is getting Evan Stewart back, who's their best wide receiver. DeCorian Moore, who's been hurt for the last few weeks, he is back and a full participant. It's their second best wide receiver. Like, the reinforcements are in for the Ducks, and I look at their path. Their path looks pretty good. So Oregon is that 3rd team. The 4th team I have, I am really torn between this. I had to think about it a lot. I'm going to go with Georgia. The reason I'm going with Georgia instead of Texas Tech is because of Kirby Smart, and they've been there before, and they expect this, and they know what it's like to not only play in these big matchups, but play this many games in a season. I wanted to say Texas Tech because I genuinely think Texas Tech might be a better football team than Georgia this year.
I think they are.
But the fact that Georgia knows how to handle this expanded playoff from a, like, not only logistics, but how do we structure practice? How do we structure film? All of that. I think that gives them a leg up on a team like Ole Miss, who hasn't necessarily done that before, if Ole Miss and or Tulane wins that game.
That's a good point.
If I need somebody to match Ohio State's athletes and give me Georgia to do that. I think Texas Tech, asking them to beat Oregon, the winner of Indiana and Oklahoma/Alabama, and then also win a natty, that's a lot for Texas Tech, I think.
So you gave 5 teams, Indiana, Ohio State, Oregon, Georgia, and Texas Tech, that you think those are the 5 teams you believe can win the title.
Texas Tech fringe.
I'm with you, though. They're in my group that I think can win. I'm going to add a team. I think 6 of the 12 can win the title.
Ooh.
And the 6th is Miami. I know for Virginia Tech fans, that may be hard to stomach, but you look up and down these teams where they rank in various categories. All of the teams that Sam named are top 15 in both offense and defense in the SP Plus. So Sam nailed that. Like he absolutely nailed that. Those are the teams that are the best well-rounded teams. Miami is 16th in offense and top 15 in defense. So they are right there. They are right there. And I believe that they could win. They can beat Texas A&M in game 1. And if they get past Texas A&M on the road in a rowdy Kyle Field, that could be the toughest game they have.
If Miami had the 9 seed, I would say yes.
Yeah, I agree.
I think so.
I mean, the 9 seed would be so much better for them.
Mm-hmm. I think that like they're in the worst spot of any team on this list. I think Tulane and JMU are genuinely in better spots.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Yeah.
So
because
I would like
Miami
for losing
better
to
against
SMU
Ole Miss. That's the thing. Is like I think Miami could win it all, but losing to Texas A&M clearly doesn't surprise me because it's a road game. Like
I agree. It feels like how we kind of felt with Oregon last year, where it was like, congratulations, your first game is a neutral site versus Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
correct. And that's what's interesting is that you look at the teams and who could win this, and you're picking a lot of the teams that have a bye. Last year, the team that won didn't have a bye. They just ran roughshod through the whole thing.
And that's one thing. If I'm looking at Texas A&M, that's something that might be to their benefit. Is not only do they have a home game right now, like Ohio State did, they didn't have to play in their title game like Ohio State did.
True.
They've been sitting there, getting better, getting healthy, playing at home. Like
the one thing, so the reason I don't have Texas A&M as one of my teams that can win it all is because they haven't been playing well. Like their last couple of games have been bad.
Well,
they had one of the weakest schedules in conference.
Do you know who else wasn't playing well at the end of last season?
Who?
Ohio State.
True. Well,
Just
they
saying.
did. They were playing not against Michigan.
I'm being devil's advocate
correct.
big time
no,
right
you're
now.
right.
But
No,
yeah,
you're right. There's no way to know. It's just that it wasn't one game like Ohio State was last year. It was Alabama hasn't been playing that well. Oklahoma's limited. Ole Miss doesn't have their coach. A&M almost lost to South Carolina. Like those are the reasons why I don't have those teams. Like I don't think Bama or Oklahoma have a shot at doing anything. Like one of them's gonna win because they're playing each other, but they're gonna lose the next round.
It does feel like Indiana's path to the title game is easier than Ohio State's significantly.
Oh, for sure. Yes. And so this is the last fun question I want to ask you before we go into any last final thoughts on the games. Sam, plus 330, you can take all of the SEC teams in this bracket, or you can take Indiana plus 330. So you see what I'm saying? You have all 5 SEC
to win
teams
the Natty.
To win the Natty.
I would have Oklahoma and or Alabama, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, Georgia.
You have all 5. Or you get Indiana.
Yeah, give me the 5.
I think I'm going Indiana. I think Indiana has a better shot to win the title than all 5 of those teams individually. I know it's in combination because who's the most likely of those teams to win it to you of the SEC teams?
I would say Georgia.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
Georgia, or I mean the Texas A&M storyline. We've seen it before. I would also say though, like Indiana, at some point you are playing the odds of like winning 50-50 games. Like how many times does that coin flip hit heads for you?
Yeah.
Like you beat Ohio State. Now you have to beat like a relatively 50-50 game against Oklahoma or Alabama on a neutral. Then you have to win another 50-50 game against Oregon, a team who you've already seen this year. Then you have to win. Like the odds are not in your favor of going undefeated through this. It's just not.
I agree with the bracket in the sense of if Indiana and Ohio State play again, I would pick Ohio State. Like, yeah. I think Ohio State in that Big Ten championship was coming off the Michigan win. They hadn't won that in 4 years or whatever it was. That was their Super Bowl, not the Big Ten title game. And they only lost by 3 points. And they have the best unit of any unit in all of college football in their defense. And I think if they played again, Ohio State would win the national title, like our graphic says.
If Indiana wins the national title this year and goes undefeated, it's one of the greatest stories in college football history.
Oh yeah, and I'm probably rooting for. I'm not rooting for Ohio State to go back to back.
I don't see. Here's the funny thing about this is I don't know if there's a team that I'm particularly like rooting for or against.
Yeah, there's no team.
Like
yeah,
all the games,
like all the Texas Tech, I might be rooting for. I kind of like the outsider of it, but they've spent a shitload of money, so it's like rooting for the Yankees in some ways,
right? And it's also like Oregon finally getting their natty. Like they've lost 2 national title games.
Yeah.
Like Oregon finally getting their natty, or
I'm rooting for Tulane.
Tulane winning a game would be also like JMU. I think is in a pretty tough spot, but I'll root for like if JMU wins, that'd be cool.
It would be crazy.
I think the only 2
underdogs,
the only 2 teams where it wouldn't be cool if they won are probably Alabama and Oklahoma.
Yeah, that would be awful.
Like even Miami winning would be.
You could talk me into a fun story with Oklahoma, like. The defensive
about how they suck,
team,
but they win the national title.
Right. Yes. Mateer gets healthy and he starts throwing darts.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe.
So that one's on Friday. Miami, Texas A&M leads us off on Saturday. That's 11 a.m. local time, noon Eastern. And then Tulane at 3:30, and then JMU and Oregon have the night game. I like Oklahoma to beat Bama. I like Miami to cover. I don't know if they'll win, but I think they're going to cover against A&M. Okay. Tulane, I think they cover. Probably lose, but I think they cover the 17.5. JMU and Oregon, man, I don't know. I
sit back, drink a beer, and watch that.
Yeah,
game.
like
that
I don't know. I'm gonna take the cover for my wife's sake. I'm gonna say JMU is gonna cover at 21.5. She is a
Smart
Duke.
man.
I will be watching it. I'll probably have my t-shirt on that I bought in Harrisonburg, but no, it's probably not gonna go well for the Dukes.
Probably not gonna go well.
But
yeah.
All right, Sam. Next week we get to recap some of these games and talk about whatever comes up with Virginia Tech. Again, let me scratch that. We are going to skip another Too Deep episode because we're going to be posting the episode with the holiday special, the company Christmas party, if you will. Will get posted to the feed after this, and then we'll be on Monday, and then it's Christmas. So first Too Deep episode may not be until before New Year's or even after New Year's. Me and Sam will talk about it. We might do some basketball stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and then also we'll probably have some Twitter spaces on X or whatever they call them now after basketball games. The game coming up against Elon in a little bit, and then of course the UVA game on New Year's Eve. Yeah. That could be a fun one. Who knows? We will be in your feeds, and as always, you can check us out on X and tweet stupid stuff at us, and we'll probably respond and all that jazz.
Thank you for the comments, Randall Big Irvin. Hate to say it, but I'm pulling for Miami. I know. I kind of hate to say it too. I kind of am pulling for Miami. FCS football is a lot of fun to watch. Agree with that. Thank you all for hopping in the comments all season long. We will be back again next week to recap these playoff games, talk about the Hokies, talk about the Michigan coaching hire because it could be done by then. And until next time, go Hokies.